Canadian media projecting Mark Carney's Liberal Party the winner, making Carney the next prime minister. It's a reversal of fortune for the Liberals, which were expected to lose before Trump began making his threats. CNN's Paula Newton is live in Ottawa. Paula, this is a huge comeback, considering how unpopular the last Liberal leader was, Justin Trudeau. He even resigned to allow these elections to happen. So how big of a factor was President Trump in Canada tonight?
Some say in terms of the Liberal resurrection, if you can call it that, he was really the only factor. And why? That's because Mark Carney, now Prime Minister in Canada, he had taken over just a few weeks ago. He's now been elected Prime Minister. So many in Canada that I heard from, Laura, told me, look, this is a safe pair of hands. A former central banker, not just here in Canada, but in Britain, steering Britain through Brexit. They wanted someone in the room, in the Oval Office, who they feel could stand up for Canadian rights, and sending a message to Trump that they intend to bargain hard and demand respect. All of that went over well through this campaign. That is the political drama of the moment. I want to give you the political drama to come, right? Mark Carney still has what we call a minority government at this hour. He must win enough seats in May by the end of the evening to have a majority government. That'll have a big impact to see what kind of a free rein he will have to negotiate any kind of deal with President Trump in the United States. If he has a minority government, things become a little bit more complicated.
Okay, Canada, let's talk about what just happened. Mark Carney won the election, and all I've got to say is, I am seriously disappointed. I personally wanted Pierre to win, but now this, Canada has just made a massive mistake. If you voted for Carney, you voted for a future with more taxes, less freedom, more government control, more censorship. You basically voted for the downfall of a once great nation. Mark Carney and the Liberals don't care about your hard-earned money. They want to take it and control how you live your life. And this isn't about progress, it's about power. The policies they are pushing will strangle the economy, punish the working class, and take away freedoms that made Canada great. Congratulations, Canada. You have now voted for a future where you are not allowed to think for yourself.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. If you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
I've been warning for months. America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen. But we also must recognize the reality that our world has fundamentally changed.
Canada, Canada, Canada. Right now, trending worldwide. Good luck, Canada. What's going on, family? And shout out to them Canadians. We have a lot of wonderful Canadians a part of the family on this channel, man. Shout out to y'all, man. How y'all doing? Can't wait to read the comment section, man. But we definitely had to get into this in today's video. We definitely had to bring this onto the show, you know. And can't wait to hear back from you guys. The internet has gone crazy, and yeah, you just can't make this up. And we're just reading a lot of these tweets that are just breaking the internet. Amazing how stupid Canadians have proven to be. Mark Carney is no different than Justin Trudeau in any way at all, other than the part about not being. We're not gonna say that. We're not gonna say that. They are going to get Trudeau's policies with a different face, and they think they just voted for change. Are people that easily tricked? Oh man, you just can't make this up. He says Trump is going to trying to destroy Canada. What is he going to do? Displace half your population, drive your housing prices up, kill 1 out of 20 of your citizens, burn down 100 plus churches.
Canada is finished. So again, it sort of rings hollow to me personally when you've got Mark Carney being like, Trump wanted to break us. It's like, who is us? Half of you weren't even there 5 years ago. So who is this Canada that Trump is trying to break? Because if it's the people who settled and founded and built and created Canada, they've already been destroyed by you people. They've already been taken out of contention by the enormous increase in migrants, almost exclusively from India and Asia, and China as well. What could Trump do that would be worse than what you're doing to Canada? That's my real question. What is Trump going to do? Is Trump going to kill 1 in 20 of your citizens? Because that's what your government is doing. That's what your government did last year. Out of every 20 people that died, at least one of them was murdered in a hospital by a doctor when they otherwise would have continued to live for God knows how long. What is Trump going to do to Canada that's worse than Canada than what Canada is doing to itself?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Crisis in the United States does
economy. 5% tariffs on all goods.
It's beginning to feel like 2008.
they can become divided and weak.
Y'all see this?
And we decide what happens here. And strong.
Oh, Brother Mark. How do y'all feel about Brother Mark? Leave it in the comment section, dog. How do y'all feel about Mark Carney, man? You just can't make this up, man. You just can't, you know. He's sitting down there eating a bagel, ham and cheese sandwich. Yeah, buddy. You know. Hitler is I don't know, man. Is it just me, y'all? But anytime somebody takes a picture and they have their hand out or anything, it's like everybody, Democrat, liberal, conservative, Republican, anybody that comes out and takes a picture and they're waving at somebody, they have their hand out. It's always this Hitler talk. You know, I'm honestly sick of it. You know, we already hear enough of Hitler, threat to democracy, dictator on day one with President Trump. You know, Elon Musk comes out, Hitler, he's Hitler, Nazis, we're all a bunch of Nazis. People are tired of this crap, man. And I know y'all might call this man whatever you want to call him, but I'm just sick of seeing Hitler all over my timeline. I really am. You know. But Mark Carney just won the election as a Canadian. I'm disgusted. This isn't progress. It's a step towards more taxes, more control, and less freedom. If you're happy with this, you are a part of the problem. Yeah, buddy. Let's check out what Matt had to say. He says Canada just made a big mistake. Check it out.
Here as if our Canadian friends to the north are going to have a rough couple years ahead of them. You see, as of yesterday evening, progressive Canadian politician Mark Carney has been officially elected as the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, if you've been following along with what's been going on north of the border for the last couple months, then you know exactly why this is such a catastrophic outcome for the people of Canada. You see, prior to President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs going into effect back in early April, conservative Canadian politician Pierre Poilievre was actually projected to win the election. However, the progressive left in Canada, with a little bit of help from their friends in the progressive media, were able to stoke the flames of nationalistic anti-American outrage just enough to flip the election back in their favor. And folks, the irony here is almost too much to handle. Canadian voters were convinced that voting for the Progressive Party would somehow protect Canadian sovereignty against mean old America, but now that the Progressives have won, they're going to go right back to doing what they always do. Selling out their own country, bending the knee to China, and importing another couple 100,000 cheap laborers from the third world to further destabilize Canadian society. It was one of the most obvious bait and switch strategies in modern history, and I hate to say it, but a lot of Canadian voters fell for it. The very same voters who were supposedly voting to protect Canada and make Canada strong just guaranteed that Canada will be swallowed up by Chinese interests faster than anyone thought possible. And now, folks, I've got a little video that I want you all to take a look at here, but first I want to say real quick, if you guys enjoy the daily news update, but okay, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this video that goes over the exit polls indicating why people voted the way they did.
But David, just to show the viewers how it differs, just click on there on baby boomers.
Okay, so now we're saying this is all respondents. This is just people who are boomers. What do they think is the top issue?
Canada-U.S. relations. So you see one of the reasons why older people are voting for the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party is way ahead on this issue. They own it. And if you're a boomer, you're focused on it.
Okay, now you wanted to contrast with...
Let's talk to our friends in Gen Z.
Gen Z. What do they think is the top issue?
Affordability and cost of living. So
42%.
when you look at... Yeah, and so when you look at the differences...
And that maps, sorry to interrupt, but that maps more to Poilievre's side of the equation.
Absolutely. This is time for a change, voters.
Right.
We're seeing some of them show up in Atlantic Canada tonight in a very efficient way so far. So that contrast on what people think this election is about, whether it's about Donald Trump in the U.S. or it's about their own affordability situation and what's going on in their own homes, that's what the race is about.
And
tonight.
once again, this is polling done as people left the polling booth today.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I wasn't lying about all of this anti-Trump, anti-American sentiment. Canada's largest voting bloc, the Boomers, voted in droves against President Trump and his tariffs, whereas younger Canadians voted more conservatively, hoping to improve their economic prospects. But okay, folks, what do you say we talk about why Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister of Canada, really is such a tragic pick? You see, rather than working with President Trump to secure our shared U.S.-Canada border, a project that President Trump estimated would cost around $2 billion, Mark Carney decided to Trump-proof Canada to the tune of $30.9 billion instead. So instead of spending a couple $1 billion to work with the United States to fix the ongoing border problem, he's going to blow $30 billion on building out Canada's own defensive network in an absurd attempt to protect Canada from its single largest trading partner and closest historical ally. You seriously can't make this stuff up, but unfortunately the problems with Carney don't stop there. You see, Mark Carney's entire political ideology is centered around deepening Canada's ties to the Chinese CCP. He's gone so far down this road that Canada is now the only country on the planet other than China to impose escalatory tariffs against the United States in response to President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. I want you to think about that for a second. Not even countries like France or Germany or even Mexico decided to pick a fight with President Trump over his tariffs. Only China and now Canada decided to do that, which frankly is just an embarrassment for everyone involved. But you know what? It gets even worse. Take a look at this. It was discovered that a CCP-linked WeChat account operating directly out of China ran a massive foreign influence campaign supporting Mark Carney's election. Their campaign reached over 3 million Canadian voters, spreading coordinated, inauthentic content designed to push Canadians to vote for Carney. And just in case that wasn't already shady enough for you, Carney was also caught lying about his private meetings with CCP-linked officials, trying to cover up the fact that he's been cozying up to Beijing behind closed doors. It's almost cartoonish how corrupt this entire situation really is. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the truth. Mark Carney is not Canada first. He is China first, and now he's the Prime Minister. But you know what? We do need to be honest here and give a little bit of credit where credit is due. Mark Carney was really only able to win this election because his conservative counterpart, Pierre Poilievre, absolutely fumbled the ball on the 5-yard line. You see, rather than trying to de-escalate tensions with the United States and working out a rational pro-sovereignty solution that would have benefited both countries, Poilievre chose to echo Carney's anti-American outrage over President Trump's tariffs. Instead of leading, Poilievre tried to play politics. Instead of trying to stand up for Canada's best interests, he tried to copy the rhetoric of the radical left. And unfortunately, that decision probably cost him the election. Because when you start sounding exactly like the progressives that you're supposed to be running against, voters just end up voting for the real thing instead. Instead, if Pierre Poilievre had simply said, you know what, let's work with President Trump to secure our border, let's renegotiate some of these lopsided trade deals, and let's protect Canada's national security, he probably would have won this election in a landslide. He chose to pander to the anti-Trump, anti-American sentiment that the Canadian progressive media was pumping out, and it backfired spectacularly. He forgot that the silent majority, both in Canada and the United States, actually respects strong leadership, and he didn't show that. So now, Canada is stuck with a prime minister who has already proven himself to be nothing more than a CCP puppet, and you know what? It really is a tragedy because the Canadian people deserve better than this. They deserve better leadership. They deserve a government that actually puts Canada first, just like we here in the United States are putting America first. So folks, really, when you stop and think about it, this is a cautionary tale. When globalists try to stoke the flames of hatred against your strongest ally, when they try to manipulate you with manufactured outrage, you need to step back and ask yourself, who really benefits from this? Because I'll tell you right now, the people who benefit from Mark Carney winning this election are most certainly not the citizens of Canada, and they're not the citizens of the United States. In truth, the only ones who win in this situation are the globalists and the Chinese Communist Party. So folks, like I said earlier, and I hate to say it, it really does sound like Canada is about to have a rough couple of years.
Canada shot itself in the foot. Where them Canadians at, man? Y'all comment down below, man. I know we got a lot of love for Canada on this channel, man. You know. And got to stay up to date on what's going on and what's happening. And here it is, y'all. There it is for Canada. Sometime in life, you be riding and you ignore the warning lights. You keep riding. You know, oh, I can make it till Friday. I can make it I can get it done in the next 2 or 3 days. I can get it done next week. And then all of a sudden, bam. It's rod knocking and, you know, you ran out of gas. Both tires then went flat. Windshield cracked. Transmission slipping. You know? And somebody got to be walked out and they got to put their hands behind their back. Good luck, Canada. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, family.